This conversation is brought to you by Modulr, the payments automation platform. Hello, I'm Lindy Gooden. Welcome to the Future of Utilities podcast. There's one thing that customers often don't think about in utilities, and that's how they get paid. You might think about it if you're being chased up for a bill. You might think about your direct debit. Utilities companies obviously will be looking at those fixed payments and maybe even a top-up payment. But are things about to change? Possibly so. Let's meet Myles Stevenson from Modulr. Great to have you here, Myles. First of all, great to have you here, but tell us more about you and also what Modulr does.
Excellent. Fantastic to join you. I'm Myles Stevenson, as you said, CEO and founder of a business called Modulr. Modulr is a payments automation business, so we enable businesses to automate the flows of money in and out of their businesses in an efficient, controlled and reliable manner. We do that across a range of businesses. We're processing around 200 million transactions annually, about 180 billion of payment flow for 6,000 businesses, from SMEs up to global enterprises, and through a single platform, so customers have got choice of how they do that.
So up until now, direct debits have been the kind of the mainstay of payments with customers in mind. But often, of course, the payment value changes. You might be chasing up a payment. You may be looking for something a bit more complex. It might be hard to handle. So first of all, why have direct debits been there so far, and how can we change this if we need to?
So direct debits have been fantastic, continue to be fantastic. We as a business support it. It's one of the payment types that we support on our platform, and we will continue to do that. And they fit very well, particularly with fixed, recurring, regular payments. And for certain customer groups, they are fantastic. And there are alternatives, but they have worked really well in terms of the cost, the structure, and the reliability for businesses. Things are changing though, and there are new payment types that are emerging. New requirements from customers, challenges around operational processes, which means that direct debit alone is perhaps no longer fit for purpose, and it's about adding more capability for a business to be able to manage its payment flows.
The world is changing, customers are changing, how we pay, also the cost of living is a factor that might bother many of us. We've been through COVID, so things are changing, and being more responsive, allowing variability in those payments is probably quite important right now. So what keeps payments teams up at night, do you think? What's the problem? Then we'll find the solution.
The common problem that people jump to, which is very valid, very real, are the operational challenges, issues when things go wrong. So the happy path is great when it all works, and that can be still the majority of the payments, but it's when things go wrong, and they can be the smaller proportion of the payments, but then the amount of time that's taken to resolve that, whether it's the follow-up, the inefficiency, the controls, the challenges that brings to business can be significant, and therefore trying to resolve that. Also, that is all very valid and important. There is another area that I think businesses forget, that payments can also be a strategic enabler around how you acquire more customers, how you digitally enable them, how you get them to sign up more quickly, and therefore thinking about payments from a strategic point of view rather than it being in the back office and just forgotten about is becoming increasingly more and more important.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, I want to go to a happy party in the payments team. That'd be interesting. But second of all, has anything changed, or is it a gradual increase in the need to have variety in the way payments are made?
I think it's one of those items where when people look at it at a high level within a business, it appears okay and people don't think it's broken. But when you start to lift the lid and look at it, it is broken. And there are a number of parts that then creep up and grow on you, where the inefficiency grows, perhaps the controls, the conversion to payments, the number of issues you have start to become more of a proportion of the business and more of a challenge, and therefore starting to look for alternatives or additions, and maybe not a full alternative, is absolutely critical.
Consumers and businesses have never probably looked at their bills with in more detail. We are at a time when we've had many years of energy prices, and there's energy sector disruption from overseas and so on and so forth. So what do utilities, do you feel, get wrong, particularly in sensitive times?
I don't think it's necessarily getting things wrong. It's what more could you do, and how could you provide more customer choice and consumer choice by adding different types of payments into the mix, into the platform, so that you can give different customers a different experience based on what their needs are. So if people are struggling to pay at certain times in the month, fixing it to that specific period is only going to create problems for both the customer, but also the business as well, versus creating something that's more flexible and that can give some more optionality but for both the customer and the business, then I think will improve the experience, but also improve the collection rates and therefore reduce those unhappy paths we were talking about in terms of where money doesn't get collected, bills don't get paid, and then it ends up in a circle of chasing.
Yeah, which is really time consuming and unpleasant as well.
Absolutely.
So take us through your platform just for a moment and just talk about what it does and how it can solve, maybe from a practical point of view, how it can solve some of these issues.
Yeah, absolutely. So the reason and the genesis of Modulr was, as the name suggests, modules and components, and really giving businesses a choice so they can choose one payment method if that's appropriate to the problem they're trying to solve, or they can deploy a variety of different payment methods all through a single platform. So we're all about choice, modules, enabling a business to do what it wants for the best interests of its customers.
This conversation is brought to you by Modulr, the payment automation platform. And Modulr automates how money moves, delivering the efficiency, the accuracy, and the reliability that your finance operations need to scale. Yeah, and so that's powerful because you probably don't have choice with every single platform. So actually now you can choose the way you interact. Yeah. You can choose the system that you're using. You can choose the application to different customers. And so I suppose you need to also take in information from the customer to make sure you understand what they need.
Yeah, absolutely. So enabling that customization of workflows, reconciliation flows, but also the front-end customer experience is absolutely critical.
So talk about, if you wouldn't mind, commercial, variable, recurring payments. What is CVRP?
So CVRP is a new payment scheme. It's, I think, one of the first new payment schemes in the UK for probably 18 years.
Okay.
So we're probably all familiar with instant payments or faster payments. That's actually been around, I think it's the 18th anniversary this year.
Okay.
So people in the payments industry might be celebrating.
It's the first time I was here at Future Utilities. My 18th anniversary.
Fantastic.
Happy birthday.
Likewise, happy birthday. So something quite significant in terms of forming this new payment scheme. Yep. We're one of the founding members and shareholders in the scheme, along with many other payments companies and banks to bring that to market. And as the name suggests, it allows businesses to collect, give that option of the variability, and both from the setup, the timing, to enable customers to set it up through their bank account. So it's set up through the banking app with the banking security, using the open banking infrastructure. It's leveraging the faster payments rails. So you've got instant settlement. You can configure the collection, the time period that you're giving the consent, and also a key benefit for the business or the utility company, as it's using the faster payment rails, it's got instant settlement. Yeah. So rather than waiting for the 3 days through the direct debit cycle, you get that instant settlement. And for back to the customer experience, as the consent is managed through the banking app, if they want or need to change that, they can change it. And that through a secure method, they can actually change the date, the consent, the maximum amount to suit their lifestyle changes, or if they're getting paid at different times, they've moved jobs, that control enables them to match the actual payment requests to when they've actually got money in their account, going back to the operational efficiencies that can exist, how you actually remove the payment failures, because it's also checking at the point of request that there is actually money in the account before the payment request is made, unlike direct debit where it's just a standard set time, and if there's no money in the account, it fails.
What's nice, it seems, about that, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that it's sitting within your app. You actually, within your banking app, is that correct? So you can actually look at it, you can keep track of it, also it can interact in some ways so that you can get a sort of preventative element of that as well?
Absolutely. So you're in control, but it also enables the utility company to have it as part of their digital experience as well. So it's ideally a win-win in terms of being able to have digital experience, control from a utility company point of view, but also the consumer feels in control as well.
Great. So we're coming towards the close. If there's a message you'd like to give to every utility business to have access to a new way of doing this stuff, they might be very happy with the way they do this stuff, but I'm sure not everybody is. So what would you say to them, in terms of being able to explore something a bit new?
I would recommend moving the conversation around payments from being a I must do it and sort of something you add on as an afterthought, to a strategic option, thinking about how you can grow your business, change your business, and give customers that optionality through a broader range of payment services that you're delivering to them, and thinking about it as customer first, giving them the choice and enabling them to pay when they want to pay.
Yeah, and just one final thought, really, sort of a more macro thought, is that, this is probably long overdue in utilities. In a time of great change, it's important to be able to change and for customers to have much more interaction with their utility firm. So, how do you feel in terms of the overall look of what this could potentially do for that relationship in utilities?
Yeah, I think providing the flexibility and adapting to those customer needs, and whether it's how people now want to interact and how they want to pay, but also the change in working styles and when people get paid, that has changed a lot, and therefore being able to match when people, if you like, the individual's cash flow. We talk about company cash flow, but the individual's cash flow, and then being able to manage that appropriately to when they've got their outgoings, such as their utility payments.
Yeah. It's a much more relational way of doing things, it seems to me, which is hopefully going to open up a better relationship with utilities. So thanks, Myles, for joining us. That's really great to have you here. And thanks for explaining it to us.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
And that's it for now from the Future of Utilities podcast. Great to have you with us too. Thanks a lot. Take care.